Hello everybody, it is Nick here with another Nick's Topics Dragon Ball What If Topic video for you guys today. And today, we are getting into part 13 of What If Nam Became a Z-Fighter. Short sagas still haven't stopped this story from being an adventure, for the most part. Anyways, last time we ended off the Buu arc with Majin Buu not even being awoken, so I guess you could just call it the Bobbity arc. Anyways, Majin Buu's ball in the end was taken by the Supreme Kai to eventually be dealt with by Beerus, but he doesn't want anyone to know because they're not strong enough to fight Beerus right now, and he doesn't want them to know for that reason. Anyways, he basically said at the end of last episode that he would take a select few warriors to train with the legendary weapon known as the Z-Sword. Now, who are those people going to be training this time? Since I said people, that implies more than one person is going to train with the Z-Sword. Tien is going to be the first one, because of his expertise in fighting and the way he effectively blinded Deborah whenever he killed Kibito and such. Gohan is going to be picked for the same reason that he was before, because the Supreme Kai notices his untapped potential and his power as it is now, and deems that the Z-Sword's going to be good for him. Nam is also going to be one that trains with the Z-Sword, because as an ordinary villager coming this far in training and fighting, the Supreme Kai recognizes this and says that he can come along too. Soon enough, after the three warriors are on the Kai planet and training with the Z-Sword, they all eventually break out the Elder Kai from the sword, and he unlocks all three of their potentials. So this takes some time because it's three separate people getting the potential drain. And you gotta think about like breaks and if he really wants to go through with it, like all in one go, basically. After all's said and done, Gohan decides to go back down to Earth because he's still in a relationship with Videl, and that's going to play out the same way it did before. And he still wants to, like, be on Earth with his family and his friends and such. So he leaves. But Tien and Nam, they're not so hasty on leaving. They've been rivals and friends for a long time, and getting this potential unlocked from them and learning more about the Kais really brings a whole new world to them, especially Nam. So, the two of them decide to stay on the Kai planet and learn from the Supreme Kai the Kai abilities and master their new potential. So they get to stay on the Kai planet. And all goes good until Beerus wakes up from his dream about the Super Saiyan God and wanting to find it out for himself. So, after he wakes up, most of the story, depending on if you want to go along the lines of the Battle of Gods movie or the Dragon Ball Super Battle of Gods, goes the same as it did before. Up until Beerus and Goku have their first interactions, which is still going to be the same because Goku still did go to King Kai's and everything. And it goes the same right up until Goku goes Super Saiyan 3. Now, how does he have Super Saiyan 3? Many people argue that just because he didn't die, that he would never have unlocked Super Saiyan 3. I most definitely think that he still would have. It would have just been far more arduous because he wasn't in Otherworld to get some grasp on it. But anyways, the fight goes pretty much the same, except Super Saiyan 3 Goku is stronger because of his already potent training, which Beerus takes note of, and it does take a tiny bit more effort to keep Goku down. Afterwards, Beerus is surprised to find two Earthlings with very high powers training on the Supreme Kai's planet, that of which of course being Tien and Nam. Now over this time skip, Tien and Nam have grown increasingly strong on the Kai planet. near the strength of Super Saiyan 3 Goku. I know, maybe a bit overstretching, but considering the fact that Tien and Nam have been through so much training already, and now they have mastery over all the Kai techniques, plus unlocked potential, they're gonna be pretty freaking strong. And when Beerus goes to check on this and test the power for himself, even though they're just Earthlings, he is quite surprised when Tien and Nam, just alone, can actually combat him. And he's surprised that with just simple training and the Kai training, simple humans are able to match the strength or even exceed the strength of the Saiyan that he had just previously dueled. And he actually has to get a little bit serious. But nonetheless, he beats Tien and Nam, and then goes to Earth to try and find out more about the Super Saiyan God legend. But he's keeping those two Earthlings in mind, because he might have plans for them in the near future. Anyways, Gohan and Goten are the only two Saiyans that can combat Beerus on Earth, and Goten's far too scared to. Gohan wants to because mainly Beerus makes him. Doesn't press it so much on the kid because he knows Goten's no match for him. But when Shenron is summoned and he tells him about the Super Saiyan God legend and that you need 5 righteous Saiyans and that there's only 3 of them alive, this doesn't go down too well with Beerus. And after finding out that this Super Saiyan God legend was all for naught, he's half tempted to just blow up the Earth right now. Not as much as before because there's no Boo around to anger him, but before he can even think about doing anything rash, Whis poses another idea. There might be a way to still bring out the Super Saiyan God if the Saiyans were to train on his world. Actually, bring it out the old-fashioned way instead of relying on the ritual. And Beerus, having not been angered by Boo, as I said, is more inclined to listen to this, because if he were, say, still angered by Boo, I don't know if he would really agree to those terms at the time. So, we are going to get Super Saiyan God Goku, as I've explained in my other 2 stories, if not maybe 1. We are still going to get Super Saiyan God Goku, it's just going to be a little bit later down the line. Now, you guys might be wondering, hey Nick, why didn't you bring someone like Vegeta back? Or, I don't know, maybe Broly, perhaps, into the equation? Tarble, something like that? Well, Vegeta, for one, to make him a good guy, even if he were to be brought back, to make him a good guy in the time span that Beerus would have patience for, would be very arduous. And even if I did throw Broly or Tarble in, that still wouldn't be enough Saiyans, and it would be far too much to write into the story, because the central purpose for the story is to tell Nam, or how he would influence the story basically, and it would just be far too arduous a task, really. So, you work with what you got. Anyways, Goku and Gohan are brought to Beerus' world, Goku being the first to get the Super Saiyan God form. Like I said, still gets the form, it's just later down the line. Sort of like a Vegeta way of getting it, basically. Anyways, shortly after Goku gets the form, Gohan gets grasps on it, and with the Mystic power-up, this provides Gohan a leg up over his dad. Because, let's be honest, if Gohan really trained and pushed himself and got the Super Saiyan God powers in the original show, he would be the strongest fighter without a doubt. I mean, just look at the anime in general. He was able to match Super Saiyan Blue Goku. Anyways, remember how I said that Beerus was going to look into Tien and Nam more? Well, he follows through on this and says and agrees with Whis that the 2 of them can join the training, because Beerus was really impressed that mere humans could ascend to even Kai standards. So, Tien and Nam are going to be accompanied on the training. Well, they're not going to get any Super Saiyan God, but they are going to get good training, but I'm not going to give all the ins and outs just yet. Anyways, what about Tagoma and Sorbet and the return of Frieza? If you think we're going to get Golden Frieza here or something, think twice. Because, yeah, I'll explain here in a minute. Anyways, Sorbet and Tagoma, that whole thing plays out as it did before, and Frieza is ultimately resurrected, except it's in his first form now, instead of in pieces, and having to be restored to his first form. Afterwards, he is more than willing to just rush in and show them this time his final form, because he didn't get a chance to, because he was basically sneak attacked. Anyways, he brings his 1,000 soldiers and everyone else to the battle, except there's no Ginyu Tagoma sequence that's going to happen here because Ginyu died on Namek. Anyways, the fight is child's play. The entire thing, the whole saga. Piccolo would be the strongest on Earth at this point in time, with everyone off training. And with the extra help of Jocko and the other few Z fighters, even if Frieza showed his final form in full power, even the Earthlings are far beyond it at this point in time, and the Resurrection F arc would just be a complete waste to talk about. It's pretty much a washout. Anyways, on Beerus's planet, all of the warriors' training is going good. Tien and Nam off getting their own separate training, which I will discuss in the next video, spoiler alert. Goku getting the grasps on Super Saiyan Blue, as well as Gohan. And with their knowledge of Kaioken prior with the Super Saiyan form, it's easier to maintain the Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken much earlier on with both of them. Gohan being far above his dad at this point in time. Not too far, but noticeably far. Anyways, we get to the sequence where Champa and Bedos appear and talk about the Universe 6 versus Universe 7 tournament. Now, who is going to participate this time, and will it be trouble with so few of warriors in the story? Or will it be no trouble at all to pick our team? That's where we leave things for the moment. So, I hope that you guys are enjoying the series as of now. Spoiler alert, the series isn't going to go on for that much longer if you could not already tell, because we're approaching the end of Dragon Ball Super already, kind of like the midpoint. But I hope you guys are enjoying nonetheless. Leave a comment, like, and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time.